Mavericks start 2-0 with a weekend non-conference home sweep over Arizona State. Mike, your impressions of the Mavericks' 2 games against the Sun Devils this past weekend?
I thought Friday, it was nice to get off to a good start. If you look at the game in its entirety, I thought we got better as it went on. The entire weekend, I thought our 2 best periods were the third period each night. I hope that continues to be a trend for us, because we're trying to get as quickly as possible to a point where we can play 60 minutes. And, I thought our special teams were good. We didn't give up a power play goal. We're successful on the power play throughout the weekend, and then I didn't think we gave up a lot defensively. So you combine those, having a good goaltender, good goaltending performance. I thought we defended when we didn't have the puck, especially from Friday to Saturday. I thought we made progress there, where we defended in groups, not just as individuals, and that turns into a sweep of a weekend for us. And it was very important with us playing at home to get 2.
Ask you about your health this week. It looked like Mark and Nick were both out there, and Nate, you as healthy as you've been, and those guys available for this weekend?
Yeah, they are right now. Again, we've still got a couple of days to go, but been very positive. Those are all moving in a really good direction, and in fact, they're available as of today. So that's been moving in a real good direction for us, and it's creating opportunities for some guys that haven't quite been in the lineup yet. When you talk about Nick, when you talk about Nathan Smith, guys that haven't been there kind of chomping at the bit to have that opportunity.
Contributions from the newcomers right out of the chute. Ryan Sandlin, Lucas Sauter, the young guys contributing right away, Mike.
It's a great point. You always hope as a coach when you're bringing in a freshman class, the sooner they can contribute, I think the sooner they feel comfortable in their own skin at hey, I belong. And both those guys were put in situations of opportunity. You look at them going all the way back to the exhibition game, and Ryan scoring a goal, and Sauter playing some heavy minutes and being in different situations, whether it was on the power play or the penalty kill. Both of them got a little bit of a look at that during the exhibition game. I thought they took some confidence from that and rolled it into the weekend that we had last weekend, and felt very comfortable. And even talking to our leadership group about how things are going away from the rink, and how are they fitting in. I think there's respect for the freshman group that we have that they've already earned, that is helping that transition happen sooner than later.
What's it like with this schedule, whether it's Arizona State, North Dakota, even going on the road then, and Bowling Green in a couple of weeks? I mean, all that in October, and also trying to work out all the details of starting a season, whether you're trying to get your special teams in order and just your general systems in order.
I just think it's really important you don't try and do too much. They can only absorb X amount, and I wish I could tell you I knew exactly what that amount was. I don't. It's one where we're trying to focus on habits, process of how we do things, communication lines, so that when things are going well, we continue that while we're still working on some things that maybe aren't going as well as we feel they should. We're going to have a new book come Saturday night at 9:30 on playing against a very accomplished, very hungry North Dakota team that's trying to build their book of business. So with that, it's kind of a day-to-day thing with us. We go back, we evaluate how the day went, and set up our next day, and that's going to be no different from Wednesday to Thursday, or Thursday to Friday, Friday to Saturday. It's important for us to continue to make progress daily.
Is there a time? I mean, you said you don't really have a timeline, but is there usually, in general, year after year, a point in the season where that stuff is all in place?
Boy, again, if you were to ask the players, they'd probably say one thing, and if you were to ask the coaching staff, it'd be completely different. We just keep trying to add some things for 2 reasons. One, to get the foundation as wide as it can be for what we do, and every situation that comes up, whether that's 6-on-5, 5-on-6, 4-on-3, 5-on, all the number situations you can have, and then you want to provide some flexibility within your lineup, some depth, so that if you do have injuries, which we've had some bumps and bruises here early in the season, other guys are prepared for that opportunity. And we've already discussed that with Lucas Sauter playing the way that he played, and Ryan Sandelin playing the way that he's playing right now. They received the opportunity and they took off with it. So hopefully they've got a lot of confidence with that. But going back to the question of when we have it all in, we like to keep things as fresh as we can throughout the season, so we continue to add some things really throughout the entire season. Hopefully by February we've got everything, all the T's crossed and I's dotted, so that we always say as a staff, by that time they're running themselves. We'll come up with game plans, we'll talk about holding guys accountable, supporting them, but at that time you hope the fiber within that locker room is what's carrying you.
Circling back real quick, Hasty, to the book, you mentioned there on the previous question about the most impressive thing, I think, so far is you talked about the game ending between 9 and 9:30. That meant you made the adjustment in your mind that it's a 6:07 start on Saturday. We haven't really discussed the fact that we're going to earlier start times on Saturday night. So we've been through it one weekend. Your impressions of the 6:07 start time on Saturday for home games this year for the Mavericks?
The guys didn't stick around any longer. I can tell you that. I enjoyed it. And I asked, we had an arena meeting every Tuesday with administration and then the people from the Civic Center in the city and ask, how did you hear anything, positives, negatives? So far, it's been good. So I thought we had a good weekend as far as butts in the seats. People at the ticket window, and we're hoping to have that again this weekend. And we'll let time kind of tell us how that goes. But as far as the players, as far as the staff, it's been a real positive experience so far.
I ask you about Edwin Hookinson a little bit. Just you talked a little bit about him last week with him being named a captain. How do you think he's adjusted to that since being named that? But also, is that something that you would have expected out of him going back to his freshman year?
I'd love to tell you yes. He had a long ways to go on the rink. Off the rink, still a rock solid kid, but you interviewed him a couple times. It was tough. Even if he had a mouthful, you had to pull it out just to get him to communicate, because he's a real, I guess, I don't know if it's shy, he's just reserved. He's not a locker room guy that's in there screaming and hollering and trying to pump people up. He does it by example. If you would ask me that after a sophomore year, I'd have told you, I'd be shocked if he isn't wearing a letter by the time he's out of here, but just because of the way he conducts himself both on and off the ice and how hard he trained and what a teammate he is and those types of things. So we're lucky to have him. I like where he's at right now. I think he's embraced that. I think it's given him a little confidence, or even more confidence, to be vocal in the locker room, but yet stay inside what his personality is.
University of North Dakota Fighting Hawks coming to town this weekend. Mike, renewed our rivalry last year with them up in Grand Forks. We get them in Mankato this weekend. Have you had a chance to look at the video of their games against Canisius yet? And tell me what you think about UND and what they're going to bring to the rink here this weekend.
Aggressiveness and pressure. They're going to, whether they have it, they're coming at you in a group of five. If they don't have it, they're coming at you in a group of five. They're going to pressure the puck on the forecheck, in the neutral zone, defensive zone. They just try and take away time and space from you as much as they can. Very well coached. How they didn't score a few more power play goals. I got to give credit to Canisius' goaltender and some things that they just missed a little bit. But the possession, the puck movement, the variety of how they came into the zone. They did a good job penalty killing. And honestly, I don't know a lot about them defensively because they weren't playing a lot of it. They had the puck the majority of the game, and that's nothing against Canisius. I think that's more of a credit and a compliment to North Dakota is they possessed the puck most of the weekend. So we'll have our hands full. They're very well coached. They're guys that are trying to be what they need to be right now, and that they're trying to come in here and sweep us. They want to. Non-conference is important to everybody right now, so we'll have our hands full, but it's in our building, and we look forward to the opportunity of playing such a quality opponent.
Okay, thanks, Hasty.
You bet.